Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our regular council meeting for May the 14th. Welcome. I'd like to let everybody know that we are recording this meeting, and it is being audio, video recorded, and live streamed on the town's Innisfil's YouTube channel and shall form part of the record, which will be retained in accordance with the town's retention bylaw. And if you'd like more information about that bylaw, you can contact the clerk's office. So welcome to those joining online, to staff, council, and members of the public that are here tonight. We'll open our meeting because we do have quorum and full attendance, and I would ask if Councillor Drodge would deliver our land acknowledgement.
The town of Innisfil acknowledges that the town of Innisfil is situated on treaty land that is steep in Indigenous history. The town acknowledges that the land is the traditional territories of the First Peoples of Turtle Island. It is shared between the Anishinaabe people of Beausoleil First Nation, Chippewa of Rama First Nation, and Chippewa of Georgina Island First Nation, and we thank them for generations of stewardship. This meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people, and as settlers, we are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. The town acknowledges that the forced sacrifices that are the foundation of the Canadian society today. We are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and committed to moving forward in spirit of reconciliation and respect with all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit.
Thank you so much, Councillor Drodge. We'll now go to our item 2, which is our open forum. That's an opportunity for people to speak to items on the agenda up to 2 minutes. And we had one person sign up for open forum this evening, and it's Melissa McEwen. Not relocating the dog beach, and the staff report is DSR OC8-25. Whenever you're ready, please come forward. Oh, there's the friend I made at the Christmas parade. So I'm sorry to say, because we're live streamed, they won't be able to hear you sitting there. So if you could speak into the mic, that would, the one right back there on the.
They'll hear Wilbur breathing, so that's okay. Okay, so I have a little speech prepared. It's under 2 minutes, so don't worry. So good evening, everybody. You can really see a dog spirit come to life at the beach. They are free, playful, and unbothered. I'm Melissa. I'm a local Innisfil resident. I know some of you already. I'm a proud bulldog mom of Wilbur, who's here with me today. And I'm here because this space means something for a lot of people in the community. So Wilbur, as an example, has breathing issues like many short snout breed dogs, which are brachiocephalic breeds. For him and other breeds like him, access to the lake isn't just fun, it's a necessity. Without the water to cool him down, he can't safely be outside in the summer months. The beach is the only exercise in town where Wilbur and dogs like him can exercise, play, and stay safe. Taking it away isn't a minor change, it's taking away their freedom. We've heard about these noise complaints, but let's be honest, dogs playing in the water cannot be louder than kids at the splash pad or water toys on a sunny day. The beach is tucked at the far end of the park, and if there are concerns, can we try to address them constructively, not by eliminating the space altogether? There also seems to be some confusion on the new layout. The plan on display at the dog beach seemed to make it look like the beach was being moved and not removed. The community expected a transition and not a shutdown. There's talk of a new dog park, but it's inland with no water access. But let's face it, it's not going to serve the same purpose, especially for dogs like Wilbur or dogs that physically need the lake to stay cool. In just 48 hours, we have gathered more signatures. So we've got now 282 signatures in 2 days. That number speaks volumes because it isn't just about the dogs, it's about the community. Every day at the dog beach, people meet, connect, and laugh. I've personally myself have made so many friends there. I've met tourists, locals, and Wilbur definitely knows more people than I do. If you close the dog beach without a waterfront replacement, people will start taking their dogs to other public beaches, and that's going to definitely create more conflict and not less. Please, can we keep the dog beach open until a suitable waterfront location is ready, just like the original plan? We are not asking for much. We are asking for fairness, for compassion, and for a place for our pets and our community to continue to thrive. So really, in the end, we just want to save the dog beach. Like I said, I think a lot of people in the community were under the assumption that it was moving and not actually being closed down. I heard on the video that was shared that it's actually now moving to the tennis courts now, where we thought it was moving to beach, I think 5. So that's pretty much what we want to address, is to continue to allow the dogs to be in the water.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
I'm tangled.
Thank you, Melissa and
Thank
Wilbur,
you.
for your open forum delegation.
Thank you.
So for those who haven't been to a council meeting, you'll see that there'll be some, if somebody pulls that recommendation, and I'm pretty sure it will, we'll discuss it at that time. So thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you.
Next is item, sorry?
There was a request that maybe, could we hear that now? And so Wilbur can stick around for the decision?
So we haven't even approved the
Okay.
agenda yet. So
Okay.
I think procedurally we'll
Okay.
have to wait just a bit.
No problem.
Thank you. So on item 3, the agenda for May the 14th, is there a mover and a seconder, please, for the agenda to be approved? Moved by Councillor Saunders and seconded by Councillor Ices. All those in favor? Now I'm going to ask at this point, is there consent to move that item forward at this time? I'm going to ask, I'd need 3/4 or 2/3 vote in order to move it forward. That item? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. Okay. So we'll go to item C4. So the item C4, did somebody want to pull that item? So I think I'm a little out of order here, Madam Clerk. Am I not going to have to go into committee of the whole before we can do this item?
Council should go into committee of the whole, so there's a little bit more flexibility with the recommendation if someone wishes to amend it or make changes to come to a decision.
Okay, so I think we will have to wait until we go into committee of the whole then to do that, because if we're in regular council, and we'd have to go into committee of the whole to deal with that. So let's stay with the program then and go first for disclosures of interest. Is there any conflict of interest on any item in tonight's agenda? Pecuniary interest, seeing none. If one becomes apparent to you during the meeting, please let it be known at that time. And then we'll go to item 5, which is presentations and petitions. And we have Empower Simcoe here for our Summer Adventures Youth Program. Ms. Botham is attending, and I believe you have some people online with you as well virtually.
I do. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council, residents. I'm Tammy Botham. I'm the manager of the Sports and Recreation Department here at the town. Virtually, we have Ms. Hannon and Ms. Thompson joining me from Empower Simcoe to talk about our new summer program. Tonight, I will start by giving you a brief background on our own town summer camps, and then Ms. Thompson and Ms. Hannon will speak about the Empower Simcoe partnership, which is allowing us to expand our inclusive summer camps into our Churchill Community Center and into our Cookstown Community Hall and Library throughout the months of July and August. So our own town summer camps have been operating for over 20 years. We host the Innisfil Summer Camp for children ages 4 to 12. These camps have been vital to our fostering the sense of community and providing an enjoyable sense of experience for children of all abilities. Innisfil Summer Camp provides a wide range of activities, both indoor and outdoor settings. We provide crafts, camps, camp games, leadership development, independent activities throughout, again, the month of July and August. The Town of Innisfil Summer Camps welcomes participants of all range of abilities through our AIR program. For those requiring extra support, Inclusion Camp counselors are available for one-on-one or one-on-two support, and participants are also welcome to bring their own support workers to the program. Our camp offerings start at our Stroud Innisfil location, and that is Camp Innisfil for ages 6 to 12. We do weekly themes and daily activities. That's an indoor and outdoor camp. Alongside that location, we have our Discovery Camp, which is ages 4 to 5, and it's tailored to more of the preschool structure, also providing a variety of activities, also an indoor-outdoor camp. We offer a strictly outdoor camp at our Innisfil Centennial Park on the 7th line, and it's focused on nature and arts. And then we are piloting a Cookstown camp 2 weeks throughout the summer at our Cookstown Hall and Library. Again, it's for ages 6 to 12. Next slide. So we employ 17 summer camp students for those 3 locations. We have our camp coordinator who leads our program. We have 3 site supervisors, 2 inclusion counselors, and 11 camp counselors. These staff are selected through their experience, skills, and enthusiasm, and the ability to work with their children. They have certifications and training in first aid and CPR, high 5 principles of healthy childhood development, emergency procedures, the town's respect recreation user policy, and our inclusion staff also are trained on behavioral management systems and other specialized training. Based on our recommendations in our 2023 Lands and Lakes Master Plan, last year we hired an inclusion site supervisor to help develop our inclusion program and oversee our inclusion counselors. Throughout the summer, we see over 500 campers over an 8-week period. So tonight we are following our strategic plan through Connects. We are actively developing a variety of inclusive programs while also supporting those same opportunities by community-led members and partners. Throughout our Culture Master Plan, we follow the guiding principles of inclusivity and accessibility, and also recommendations that were set out in our Lands and Lake Master Plan. So I'm very excited tonight that the town will be partnering with Empower Simcoe to expand our inclusion programs to high school age children or youth at our Churchill Community Hall and our Cookstown Community Hall and Library this summer. Empower Simcoe offers a summer adventure program that is renowned with theme weeks and exclusive programming. So I'll hand it over to Ms. Thompson, I see is on the screen, to start off our presentation tonight.
Thank you. This is Tamara Hannon. Actually, I'm not able to turn my video on. If the host could enable my video setting. Thank you. Yeah, so thanks for having us. Especially thanks for letting us join virtually. Our scheduling couldn't allow us to be in person, unfortunately. We're excited to chat a little bit about Empower Simcoe and a little bit more about our youth program. In the next slide, we're just going to introduce ourselves. So I am the Family Services Supervisor. My name is Tamara Hannon, and Asia.
I'm the Youth Engagement Facilitator, Asia Thompson.
So in addition to our tiny little team here, we also hire 4 youth workers who support the Summer Adventures program. They're students who return to post-secondary studies in the fall. And when we're lucky enough for them to be local to our area, we also keep them on to work through the school year to support after-school programming. So the next slide, if you're not familiar with Empower Simcoe already, we are a not-for-profit agency. We're dedicated to providing inclusive and supportive services that enhance the quality of life for individuals of all abilities. We have over 7 years of service in the county and a rich history of advocacy and support. So our mission is to empower people to lead a full and inclusive life by providing the highest quality of services. We are a welcoming organization that provides everyone with the opportunity to be, belong, and thrive. So, along with our diverse range of service and programming we offer, and we include community living programming, which is kind of the largest leg of our organization. This includes a group living, like 24-hour care homes, as well as supported independent living and employment services and community support services. We also have early childhood programs, such as our Infant and Child Development Program, our Ontario Autism Entry to School Program, and our early on centers, which are operated in Bradford, Barrie, and Thornton, with some satellite sites across Innisfil. In addition, we also have housing supports, which includes our regional housing support program, as well as a Housing First program, and those are county-wide. And then we also have the youth program, and I'll pass it over to Asia now, who can get a little bit more into detail about that.
So just to dive a little bit more into what our youth program is, it is open to all youth in the community who are interested in accessing our services. There is no diagnosis required to participate in our programming. To be eligible, youth must be attending high school. They're welcome to join beginning in the spring or summer before they officially start high school, allowing them to begin building peer relationships early. Our focus on our programming is of course, inclusion, making sure that everyone feels included and have a safe space during programming, social and recreational opportunities, community involvement, skill development. The three main programming components of our youth program is our March Break Bash, which is ran over the March Break program for 4 days. It is a day program from 9:30 to 4 p.m. And it's just doing a variety of outings, activities, and skill building during that week for the youth in the community. And then we have our Youth Link program. This program is an umbrella term for all of our after-school programming offered through the youth program. It includes our weekly drop-in sessions available throughout the school year, structured sign-up based programs such as cooking groups that run for a set duration. So that can be a 6-week cooking program, and then special interest and short-term programs planned periodically. And then last but not least, we have our Summer Adventure program, which is our flagship summer program that runs for 8 weeks from July to August, which I will talk about more in the next slide. Amazing. So the Summer Adventure program runs for 8 weeks. So from July to August, as I mentioned in the last slide. So operating from Monday through Thursday, we do not run any programmings on Friday. And then if there is a holiday, we do have a shorter week. Historically, the program has been offered in Barrie and Orillia, but in 2024, we did spread out a little bit more in the Simcoe County area. We had 1 week in Orillia, 2 weeks in the Springwater community, and 1 week in Innisfil, with the rest of the weeks being in the Barrie community. During our program last year in Innisfil, we experienced low participant turnout due to a limited connection with the Innisfil community at the time. We are grateful this year to have a partnership with the town of Innisfil, which allows us to better connect with families who would benefit from the summer program for high school aged youth. Each session offers a variety of skill building workshops and activities, such as learning how to confidently navigate city transit, preparing and cooking meals. This is more designate, of course, if we do a cooking week, building friendships and social skills, and tons more fun. Day trips have included exciting destinations such as the Royal Ontario Museum, such known as the ROM, scenic caves, X-Play, art workshops, the Hockey Hall of Fame, Canada's Wonderland, and much more. The program is delivered by a team of 4 highly trained and skilled youth workers, university college students with experience in youth engagement. They provide consistent support throughout each session. We maintain a low youth to staff ratio, so usually that's a 1-to-5 or less ratio, ensuring that each participant receives personalized attention and that their individual needs are met. This year, we are excited to offer 2 weeks in Innisfil, so one location being the Cookstown Library and Community Hall and the Churchill Community Center. For our themes, we have chose our Inventors Lab at the Cookstown Library and Community Hall, and Art Week at the Churchill Community Center location. We are super excited to continue building it. Right now, we do have lower numbers, but really excited to, of course, keep building it and putting it out in the community to build those numbers going forward as well. And we can go to the next slide.
I'm just going to read some of our testimonials from families whose youth have attended. My child enjoyed all the programs. There was a great variety. It was exciting to go on the city bus. Bowling and Freaky Wizard were fun. All of the art activities and games were fun. Karaoke was a hit. Staff did a great job helping resolve any issues. Another says the staff were amazing, professional, and caring. The girls loved attending and will be attending future programs. And lastly, this was a great experience, and we hope to attend even more weeks next summer.
Wonderful. So that is our presentation. We will open it up to questions, but if I can get Kim to go to the next slide, all the registration information is available on the next slide, and we'll leave that up for a moment if we could.
Thank you very much, Ms. Botham, Ms. Thomas, and Ms. Hannon for being with us this evening. Questions or comments from members of council? Deputy Mayor Fowler?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to sing your praises because I've encountered Empower Simcoe through various events all over Simcoe County, and the work you do and the heart you have when you put into the community is incredible. So please continue. You are leaving a lasting impact on our youth in a very positive way and teaching them life skills. So whatever you're doing it right.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? I just had one. So you mentioned that you haven't had great uptake yet. What can we, as I mean, obviously here you're here letting us know about it, but how can we help through our communications or help push this out? Is there something we can do?
Yeah, I mean, sharing here is great. We're sharing through the rec guide that Innisfil provides, so that's a help as well. One of the things that we anticipated, a lot of the families who access the youth program rely on funding. Funding that in our area is often not released until last year, I believe it was June, before families access their funding. There's a bit of a barrier there with being able to access camps that sell out really quickly. So we anticipate there'll be a better uptake once that funding is released to the community. And so a bit of a waiting game. But, Innisfil is great for its proximity to other major cities is really good. And I think, we've heard of the partnership with Uber so that families can access the site. And then really just like planning our activities around our use of the space and our themes relying on like the great setup that each of those sites provide. Including the proximity to the GO line and being able to take youth into the big city for activities. So we're hoping this will all, help with getting our reach out in Innisfil. This partnership is really a huge help for us because we weren't prepared this year to make another attempt in Innisfil, and it can take time to kind of build that up in a community. So this partnership is really what allowed us to give it another shot in Innisfil. Asia, is there anything you want to add to that? I feel like I've just rambled there.
No, I think you covered what I was thinking as well. Absolutely.
Thank you. Any final thoughts, Ms. Botham?
Yeah, if everybody can just share, I know that the need's out there. We, over the years hear from those age 12 that are aging out of our camps, and unfortunately we couldn't take them back. So I know the need's out there. We just need to find those people and get their registrations up. So thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you all very much. So the recommendation is that the presentation regarding the Summer Adventures Youth Program be received. Moved by Deputy Mayor Fowler, seconded by Councillor Constantine. All those in favor? That is carried. That takes us to item 6. There are no delegations this evening. Item 7, this is any associations, conservation authorities, committees that we sit on. I'm going to break protocol and go first tonight because there's just a couple of items that I think are of great importance to the residents. So at County Council this week, one of the things that was quite important was the change in how we're dealing with the brush pickup from the ice storm. So in response to the ice storm, the county is still actively securing and deploying additional resources in the most hit communities. That would be Ramera, Severn, and Oro, but Innisfil is on that list as well, as long as Springwater and Essa. So what has to happen now is that between May 9th and the 23rd, please submit a request for a chipper crew to attend your property and take the below into consideration. So there'll be no special date. They won't be able to give you a time. All material must be on the curb by May the 19th. And there's also information online about how to put it on your property. So a note to residents that are on private roads, there may or may not be able to go down that private road depending on the size of the equipment on that road. So they would have to be taken to the end of the private road if the vehicle couldn't get down that road. So before it was, we told you just put it at the end of your driveway and eventually they would get there. Now they're asking that you either phone or go on the line and ask and reserve a spot for any brush that you might have left over. So that's very important for our residents, and we'll be pushing that out on social media to make sure that people are aware of that. The other thing is that the County of Simcoe will be doing some road work at County Road 54, which is the 10th Side Road, and 5th Line. So there'll be a closure, full closure of that road for about 20 weeks. So that'll be July to November approximately. There's no date set yet, but that will be the approximate time. We learned big lessons from the closure of Yonge Street in Bradford, West Gwillimbury on the County Road 4 last summer. So we've asked county to reach out to South Simcoe Police and make sure that they engage with them. We've also ensured that the county will have signalization at Yonge and the 6th and signalization at Yonge and the 4th so that the detour will be easier because there'll be lights at both of those intersections. And I also asked at the county yesterday whether those lights at the 6th will remain permanently, and the answer was yes. So those lights will be coming before this starts and will be staying there. So just a couple of points at the county that I wanted to make sure everybody was aware of. There were many other committees, including an AMO-MOU meeting. The first, the AMO-MOU team was at Queen's Park. It was our first time at Queen's Park last week with the new minister since the provincial election, Minister Flack. It went very well, lots of topics covered. And other than that, we had the Traffic Safety and Advisory Committee meeting. We had response from the Goodfellow parents and teachers that were at that meeting. We had updates on our camera-based enforcement. We had amendment to the speed bylaw. There will be, at some point, a camera in front of Alcona Glen School. When that camera is there, it's against the Highway Traffic Act to have those flashing lights. So those flashing lights will have to be bagged during that time, and there'll be proper signage out. And again, if you follow the town on social media, all that information will be on there. And what else was there? Enterprises and Empower both met since our last meeting. We approved our audited financial statements. And Councillor Constantine, Councillor Ices, Councillor Zanella and I attended a conference, the Ontario Small Urban Conference in Collingwood, and covered a number of topics: tariffs, healthy democracy, cybersecurity, homelessness, affordable housing, and much, much more. So it was really helpful. And that's it for me. Deputy Mayor Fowler.
Thank you, Worship. To add on to what the mayor has spoken about with regard to the county, they had their annual Paramedic for a Day contest with the students. And this year, the winner was a young lady by the name of Faith. The theme was We Care. She wrote an essay, and it spoke about how she spends time with special needs children because of her familial situation, as well as she works with seniors as well. She spends time with seniors, and there's one she remembers specifically that she's still spending time with because she recently became a widow. So congratulations to Faith. It was really impressive to hear the young lady speak and what she wishes to do with her life. Going back to the Traffic Safety Committee, we had some discussions regarding a roundabout potentially at 9th and 25th. That's going to be going in the next couple of years. Right now we have the stop signs, but we're looking at evolving that situation, and we're having the discussion as to how that will affect the students and where things will go from there and how we can engage the public in a proper manner to make them informed of the situation. As well, there was more discussion with Big Bay Point and 20th Side Road, that intersection. There is the potential to, there's talk and potential to move the signalization up as part of the Big Bay Point rehabilitation, road rehabilitation. We're going to be presented some options in June, I believe that is. So we're looking forward to getting more information in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you. Did anyone else attend meetings that they'd like to bring forward? Seeing none, we'll go to item 7.1, which is just to mention the vacancy that we have on the Innisfil Accessibility Advisory vacancy, and that we have appointed Aaron Folkhammer to the Accessibility Committee. And could I please have a mover and a seconder for that recommendation? Moved by Councillor Rob Saunders, Chair of the Accessibility Committee, and seconded by Councillor Ices. All those in favor? That is carried. Next, we'll go to the consent list items, and we'll go through each item, and if anybody wants to pull an item, please let it be known. So the first item is A1, the special council meeting minutes dated April the 16th. A2, the council meeting minutes dated April the 23rd. B1, the summary report for the Electoral Engagement Advisory Committee, item B1. There was one small typo in those minutes I just wanted to bring to your attention. It was item 4.1. The recommendation said that the Ward Boundary Review Ad Hoc Committee report as opposed to the Electoral Engagement Committee report. Just a cut and paste error there, I'm thinking. And then C1, the appointments to the Innisfil Sustainability Advisory Committee. Recommendation is on the screen. Did anyone want to pull that or speak to it? Councillor Waters.
Thank you, Worship. I want to thank all the members of the public who applied to be on the committee, and I'd like to congratulate all those people who have been asked to sit on that committee. I'm looking forward to sitting down and seeing what skill sets you bring and the passion you bring to this committee, because we have a lot of work ahead of us. And so I just want to congratulate all of you and look forward to meeting you in the coming months as we get ready to hire a new sustainability manager and move this whole agenda forward. So I look forward to meeting you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Item C2, the application for approval to expropriate part of a piece on the 25th Side Road. Item C3, the Town of Innisfil Corporate Social Media Use Policy. Councillor Waters.
I'd like to pull that one, please.
C4, the Innisfil Beach Park update on Phase 1 works. Councillor Waters.
I'd like to pull that one as well, please.
Item C5, the development of a dedicated pickleball facility. And Councillor Waters is
I'd like to
pulling-
pull that one as well. Thank you.
Then we have bylaws. The bylaw to appoint co-op students as septic reinspection program, for the septic reinspection program. E2, Benson Street and Webster Street, lifting the hold. E3, in regards to the deputy fire chief appointment rescindment. F1, correspondence from the County of Simcoe. Councillor Richardson.
I don't necessarily need to pull it. I just had a quick question.
Could I ask you to pull it,
Oh,
Councillor
sure.
Richardson, just because I think we should have a separate resolution for that one.
For sure, absolutely.
Thank you so much. F2, the Nantar Shores Grant Program School Bursary. F3, the St. Peter's Secondary School bursaries. And then we go into the correspondence for information, the Innisfil Library Board minutes, the Police Board minutes, the County Council highlights, the proclamation, Moose Hide campaign. You'll notice we all have our Moose Hide campaigns on today. That's for murdered and missing Indigenous women and preventing intimate partner violence. International Day Against Homophobia and Transphobia, National Public Works Week, and Victorian Order of Nurses Week, and National Accessibility Week. There are no notices, which notice has been given. So our consent list recommendation, please, a mover and a seconder. Councillor Drodge, Councillor Waters, all those in favor? And a motion to resolve to committee, please. Councillor, or Deputy Mayor Fowler, Councillor Constantine, all those in favor? That is carried. And now that we're into committee of the whole, I'm going to ask council whether they would allow for a reordering so we could deal with the social media policy after the Innisfil Beach Park. I need 2/3. That's carried. All right. So, and that was pulled by Councillor Waters.
Thank you, Worship. Councillor Drodge is going to second me on this as well. There are a number of things I wanted to ask questions on. However, the most important one will be the dog park and dog beach removal and its location. So I'll ask my small questions first of all and leave that one to the end. So my first question has to do with some clarification around the washrooms. It says that the washrooms will be phased in 2025, but then there's another, at 2028, there's a winterization. So I'm just kind of curious, is this a different set of bathrooms? Is this work done to the new bathrooms which are being put in? So I'm just looking for some clarification what that is all about. Thank you.
Through you, Mayor Dolan, to Councillor Waters, the answer is there's actually washrooms in numerous phases. So there's a washroom right now in phase 1, which is the beach washroom that everyone knows needs to be done right away. But there's also other washrooms proposed that will be seasonal. That will be all season washrooms. So right now, none of the washrooms that we have are all season at the park.
My second question, or is more of a comment, it concerns the domes over the tennis courts. I've had numerous residents call me concerned with the costs of the dome for memberships. So they're concerned that seniors who are on fixed incomes, who use the tennis courts right now regularly, that are free, are concerned of the costs associated with the domes and membership, and so they've asked me to raise it to staff in terms of, is this going to be something exorbitant that seniors are no longer going to participate, or are there going to be outside courts that they can participate in the summertime where it's nice and sunny, you want to enjoy the sun? So just some clarification on that point. Thank you.
So Mayor Dolan, I think I'll take that question. Councillor Waters, essentially it's in the phase 2 work. So the recommendation was that a dome be considered, and you will see some of that spoken to actually in the pickleball report that is also on tonight's agenda. There was consideration that would be over the courts to allow for that year-round use. But that will be something that's presented to council as we consider the phase 2 in the 27-28 budget. So I think a lot of the details in terms of the costing and what that's going to look like, we're not really in a position to say what the impacts could be on that cost until we actually bring that back as a proposal to you in the 27-28 budget, because it's not proposed to change as part of this phase 1.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to raise the issue that was raised to me by members of the public and tennis players. So I just wanted to raise that so you're aware of it when we come around to that. the Roberts Road Trail. Can I get some clarification what that's all about? There was something about the access point to Roberts Road, and there was going to be a Roberts Road Trail. So I'm just I know it's not in this phase, but I'm just kind of looking for some clarification of what that is.
Through you, Mayor Dolan, to Councillor Waters, I might have to look into that and get back to you, but I think it's just a trail that would be included in it. I think it's the existing trail, maybe connection to Roberts Road. Yeah. Yeah.
Existing trail being replaced with.
Yeah, so it's just a replacement of the existing trail to Roberts, yes. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. All right. Now the elephant in the room is the dog beach park.
Switch.
I'm sorry, I have to be the bad guy. We have a procedural bylaw and we have to follow it. No, your opportunity was at the beginning to sign up at open forum and speak to it. Unfortunately, that has passed at this point.
So I've been reminded that there are other councillors at this table, and I should allow them to bring up other issues before addressing the elephant in the room. So I will step back.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Drodge.
Thanks, Your Worship. Yeah, no, we'll definitely get on the dog topic shortly. I had a question about the exit entrance onto 25th. Is that a one-way exit only?
Through you, Mayor Dolan, to Councillor Drodge, that is correct. So the new road that we're building that will be going out of the park to 25th at Lebanon is going to be an exit only. So the idea is that you can turn left or right, but you can't go straight onto Lebanon. That allows the local residents that live in that development around Lebanon to be able to still go into that, use that access on Lebanon, but it will be a regulatory sign that says no straight through, so park visitors are to not go through that, yes.
Perfect. And just one follow-up question. Will that intersection have traffic signalization to dictate that?
Not at this point. There'll be a stop sign, but not a actual signal, no.
So it'll be a do not enter facing
Correct. Yep.
west into Lebanon.
It'll be all signed, not signalized, yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Anyone else? Councillor Ices.
Thank you, Worship. I was excited to see the pictures in the report of the different outdoor structures, the seating and the wonderful looking structures that were picked out. I think from our experience with the new town square, vandalism is always a concern. I noticed that in some of the groundwork, there's going to be conduits put in for internet or whatnot. Is there any security factors thought about to maybe protect some of these investments that the town is putting for its residents?
Through you, Mayor Dolan, to Councillor Ices, yes, 100%. So that new washroom that's going in right now, we've looked at every corner in regards to security cameras, and through the design as well, we're looking at making sure we've learned a lot from Town Square and how we build things, and we are trying to make sure that it can be, while I'm sure there will be some destruction, we will be ready for it, and we've learned a little bit from that. So there is, I think we've got concrete block wall, we've looked at where the windows go, that sort of thing, and there will be security that will also be on the washroom, but allow use to see other areas within the park from that as well.
Thank you. Other questions? Councillor Waters, go ahead.
Thank you, Worship. So the last item that I want to address is the Dog Beach Park. As we've heard tonight, that there are 280 residents who are quite upset that the Dog Beach Park is being removed from the park, and it's just going to be a dog park as opposed to a dog beach park. But I think staff did its job in terms of doing the study and finding out what was the issue, because we did have a lot of complaints about the park where it's located. I just noticed this morning, I let my dog, I have a dog, so I'm a dog owner. I let my dog out this morning, and I don't live too far away from that corner, and she started barking crazily. I couldn't figure out why. Then I heard the dogs from the dog beach, because it's not that far from us, she heard the dogs there. So if I could hear it, I'm sure the people who live next door are quite concerned about it. That being said, I says, and as the mayor pointed out, that this was going to come back and bite us, and it certainly has. So the question is, and I think also led to a lot of confusion, as I was confused when we voted on this, was I thought there was going to be, we were just moving it down the beach, and the maps showed that, and even the maps on the roadways to the new the exit from the park still show that there's going to be a dog beach in the park somewhere. So I think a lot of confusion, a fact that we have a need is not going to be met. I'm going to ask Stat, is there any opportunity to find another location within the park that would satisfy the residents of Roberts Road so they don't have to hear the noise anymore? Is there another location in the park that we can still have a dog beach? So I'll leave it to staff to answer that. Thank you.
Director Bowman?
Through you, Mayor Dolan, to Councillor Waters. It's nice to meet Wilbur tonight, and I know there are a lot of dogs and dog owners that have a love of our waterfront and want to experience it. But like we have just learned and you expressed from this pilot is that there are concerns for neighboring residents. It can create quite a bit of noise. So the trick is finding a place within the park that both can coexist peacefully. And so staff have been aware of the voice of the community and have been hearing from members of council about how we really need to find a solution to this. So we took a step back, had a look at the map, had a look at our master plan and what was to come, and realized that there was an opportunity for us at the farthest east point of the park. And if I could ask clerks to pop up a photo for me. I'd like to propose to council a different location for a dog off-leash area that has water access. If we can try to make that bigger. So in this photo, you can see in the right-hand side there where it says dog off-leash area with water access. I've highlighted it with yellow area. We propose to make this point, which is currently undesignated for another use, into a completely fenced-in area where dogs can have their run. Now, right now, there is not a dog kind of beach access in there, but staff believe in working with the LSRCA that we can make that happen and allow our four-legged friends to hop in the lake and cool off. So there are some things that we're also mindful of. We know that's a little bit further out into the water, and we want to protect our dog swimmers as well as people swimmers. So we propose to actually move our buoy lines, continue them a little bit further to designate the water and demarcate it for dog swimming as well. The fencing we can manage within our operating budget, so we're not proposing this become a capital project or have an additional cost for council. When you measure this to the closest property, we are within the recommended thresholds as the sound study provided. And I think, the downside we have to recognize here is that this location is probably used by some members of our community, suggesting it might be a place where people are going to view the lake and maybe have some, opportunity for quieter space. So that's the downside that council should be aware of. There may be some users who will be sad to see that space be cordoned off for dog activity. But I think in the balance of things, we are hearing quite strongly from the community that they're looking for a space. And this is really the only space we can find that will meet all of the requirements for this type of use.
Councillor Waters?
Thank you very much. I think that solves another problem too, is parking on Roberts Road was horrendous. It was dangerous. And so now people can park in the park, walk their dogs safely to the site. And it is a part of the park that isn't used, overly, not like the beaches and the play areas. So I think it's something that is worthwhile considering. And I can see some members of the public shaking their head up and down. So that was a thumbs up, I think. Hopefully we've managed to walk a fine line here and keep members of the community who are being affected by the dog park and those who need it for their dogs' health and safety. So good to hear. Anyone else? Fred?
Councillor Drodge?
Thank you, Your Worship. I completely agree with this, and I think staff hit it spot on. So if you wanted to propose a recommendation, I would totally support it.
Thank you. I'll get to you in a second, Deputy. I just wanted to say that, we want to talk about the other budget implications at the park too, about the fact that we have exceeded budget and that there are some things that are going to have to either come out, or we're going to have to figure out some way to find. I personally was fine with what is in that list as the wants versus the needs, or that can be put into the phase 2, the concrete planters, that sort of thing. But in terms of the dog beach, my suggestion in your recommendation would be to bring it back to the next, for final confirmation, to the next meeting, so that we don't do what we did and approve something and then someone comes up and says, but what about A, B, and C? And there might be some other issue that we haven't quite thought of yet. Are we early enough in the season, Director Bowman, that we could propose it tonight, but let the community have a chance to speak on it, to see whether or not it's suitable, that this rendition is suitable, and then bring it back for final assumption at the next meeting? Just a thought on my point, so that we don't end up backing up and trying to find, another location. Did any staff, Mr. Trevison or Ms. Bowman?
Yeah,
want to
Madam
speak to
Mayor,
that?
we don't have a problem waiting. We're happy to take council's direction on the timing.
Yeah, to me, it's just a bit of the knee jerk. I just want to give that sober second thought, let people stew on it, chew it for a week or 2 weeks in this case, and then bring it back to the next meeting. Mr. Jersha?
Thank you, Mayor Dolan. Could I ask for clarification? Are you proposing deferring the entire report or a decision on the dog park specifically?
I would go with what council's belief is, but the other items, we've had time to think about those since the agenda went out a week ago. We've been able to ask questions and think about those. This is just tonight coming to us, and I just don't want to make a knee-jerk reaction. I want to make a sound decision, and that's why I thought, so just the dog beach part. Sorry, Deputy Mayor, you had your hand up.
Thank you, Worship. The question I have is, I'm very familiar with this portion of the park with the access to the beach and the water itself. Are we capable of removing the stones and grading the property with the necessary sand this season if we were to go through with it? Or because I know how much literally stone is there. I've climbed it myself numerous times as I've gone into the lake. So we can actually landscape it and have it done within season? Is that my understanding?
Director Bowman?
Through you, Your Worship, we've actually been looking at this for a couple of weeks, and so have been mulling through the possibilities of doing this. We've had a little bit of runway to talk to the LSRCA and believe that we don't have an issue and can do that work internally, in fact. The exact selection of where we'll place that sandy runway is to be determined with a little bit of finer consultation with those that'll do the work, but we believe it's possible.
Thank you. And just that the LSRCA, the Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Authority. Deputy Fowler.
Okay, so we're not looking at revamping the entire area. We're just looking at a small portion to allow access for the dogs to the water. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on this item? Councillor Drodge and Councillor Waters.
Thanks, Your Worship. So if we were to pass this tonight, roughly what's the time frame to have this work completed?
Through you, Your Worship, we've had preliminary conversations with our contractor already and have a bit of a model. We'd be just waiting on a bit of materials to come in, and most importantly, locates, which have already been requested. So that's typically about a 2-week turnaround for what's a fairly small job.
And forgive me, but is the dog park currently closed, the one at Beach 6?
The Beach 6 dog park is still in place, but it is in progress of being removed right now.
So I guess my argument would be with the locates being 2 weeks at a minimum and us giving it another 2 weeks to mull it over, you're pushing yourself a month to 6 weeks where dog owners wouldn't be able to go to a dog beach. So I do understand that the knee-jerk way of looking at it, we should let it sit and mull, but really there is no other location. I would prefer to move forward with this tonight, but I'll leave it with the ward councillor.
I appreciate that. I have a tendency to agree. I don't think there's no financial burden here because staff are not going to go ahead with the dog park on the interior part. So those costs associated with that dog park will now be shifted to this part. I don't know if it's possible to reuse some of the materials that we have from the park that we're going to be taking out. So my question is similar to Councillor Drodge's is timing. So do we leave the existing dog park in for an extra couple of weeks while we get the other one up and running, as opposed to leaving time between the two of them?
Doing a quick consultation here through your worship. Yes, we can delay. They haven't actually put a shovel in the ground to remove a post yet. So if you want us to delay the removal of the existing infrastructure on Beach 6, we can do that.
So I apologize to the residents. They're now shaking their head. I would like to see this go in as quickly as possible, and because I think it walks a fine line between two opposing viewpoints, and I think we found a good alternative to the park. So I would choose to recommend that we allow staff to move forward with this part of the park plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we see the whole recommendation on the screen? Is that at all possible, Madam Clerk?
Just for clarification, is this going to be done as a friendly amendment as an additional clause to the recommendation, or does council wish to vote on it as a separate clause?
I'm hearing friendly amendment. Councillor Drodge?
Thank you, Your Worship. And just one more comment. If we were to delay it at Beach 6, we aren't really fixing the problem with parking on that side road or the noise complaints that we've had there. So by moving this forward, we're actually fixing two problems. So I just want to make that clear.
Deputy Mayor?
Just a point of clarification, if possible. Okay, are we delaying the closing of the dog beach currently until the new beach is opened, or are we closing the beach currently and waiting the 2 weeks until the new beach is opened? I'm just trying to make sure that when I vote, I want to make sure that I'm voting on.
Director Bowman?
Madam Chair, I think I can clarify for council that if your wishes are to ensure that there is a space open at all times, that we can make that happen. So we can time them so that the new infrastructure, should you choose to go ahead with it on that point, can be installed before we pull away from Beach 6.
Then I would look to Councillor Waters because he's the one getting the phone calls from Roberts.
Well, I think there's a solution, and I'm willing to take the wrath from the existing homeowners so that there's some continuity for the dog owners to have a place for their dogs currently, and then can move quickly over to the new park when it opens. Just want to be reassured that we're looking at a short timeline here. We're not, this is a month, and everything will be switched over. So I don't want this to go on into the summertime, and then I'm watched as I walk my own dog through the dog park. Thank you.
Okay, so on the screen is the recommendation put before you. The dog conversation has kind of overtaken the items that are being pulled out of phase 1. Is there any comments or questions about those items being pulled out of phase 1? Seeing none, I'm going to call the vote then. All in favor of the recommendation on the screen? That's unanimous. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. We'll now move on to the social media policy.
Thank you, Worship. Councilor Richardson's going to second me on this. It's a point of clarification and maybe addition. And so my question is, since the worst performer, I'll let staff sit down. Since the worst performer in this report is X, and considering the controversy around X, why are we still using it, and why don't we have an alternative like Threads or Blue Sky for staff? So even if we don't want to abandon the people still using X, is at least get Blue Sky and Threads up there so we can slowly shift and push people to that platform, which is I think more community oriented as opposed to something that is more so controversial. So that's my question. Thank you.
Ms. Cocking?
Through you, Mayor Dolan, to Councillor Waters. The social media policy isn't about canceling anything at this point. It is for consideration. The new social media policy, so the old one was in 2015, long before I was here. Social media has evolved, as you know. Channels have evolved. So what the new social media policy allows us to do is to continue to monitor, and then if we choose to cancel or suspend an account, the new social media policy will allow us to do that. That is the intent of the new policy. So the policy is not saying we're canceling X as an example. It's giving us the opportunity with council's approval to do that in the future if we choose to do so.
Thank you. I understood that, but I just took this opportunity to express my opinion on X and where we should be going. So I realize where we are going with this. Thank you.
If you recall, I had a notice of motion a few weeks ago asking staff to look into the issues regarding procurement, U.S. procurement tariffs, and it also included the piece on social media and X, and that is evolving. I know that it's ready to come back, but as soon as it's ready to come back, there's something else put forward. Sorry, Mr. Gershaw, you had a comment.
Thank you, Mayor Dillon. I was going to raise the same thing. I think we will speak to the question of the continued use of X in that future report back on the mayor's motion.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Councillor Richardson.
I just wanted to add, as an avid Facebook user myself, I love the posts that the town does, and I think they're really great and informative. One of my favorites is like the Coles notes that goes out after the council meetings of just the key highlights, stuff like that. My only comment is that I know that some of the residents share it, but if there's any way that maybe the staff could start to share that into some of those bigger Facebook groups of like Alcona chats and that sort of stuff, because then it'll help to get it out a little bit more. But other than that, I think that you guys do a fabulous job and keep going. Like, it's great.
Through you, Mayor Dolan, to Councillor Richardson. We do not actively engage in Alcona chats. I understand. Our reach is great, and with Facebook in particular, we always get back to people when they have a question or a concern, and we hope they share that. If you look at Facebook in particular, you see people sharing things. Neighborhood Nights is a perfect example. People keep sharing. So it is organic, and that's the way we like it to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cocking. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, the recommendation's been moved and seconded. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Next is the dedicated pickleball facility.
Thank you, Your Worship. So as the final one that I'm pulling for this evening, I just thought it was an opportunity for, Fred's going to be my seconder, thank you. Just so I pull it for conversation to see what the viewpoints of council are on this and if there's any changes. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Waters. So I'm gonna start on this one. So the group that was here doing a delegation, I believe it was in December, Unfortunately, only this morning was notified that this was coming back on tonight's agenda. So we did reach out to the gentleman who did the delegation, and he did respond back to us with some comments. Unfortunately, was not able to be here this evening. So the report's in front of us. I think it's very proactive to find the space. I think it makes sense to find the space in an area where there's already parking and there's already facilities, and I look forward to that. My question is going to be 27, 28. I thought that the price that was provided by the current contractor for phase 1 was reasonable and fair, but I would defer to staff for that comparison. And I thought that the overall cost from the Parks DC fund and the ARS funding made sense. And my only issue with the report is waiting till 27, 28. And I guess my comment's going to go to, first of all, to Ms. Goodwin, but then also to Ms. Webb about funding, because as long as I've been here, I don't think I've ever once recalled a year that we spent our full capital budget in that year. There's always, I would say sometimes over 50% carryover from one year to the next. So I wondered if there isn't some way to be able to accept the offer from, I forgot the name of it, is it Rutherford Construction? So Rutherford to do the work now, to have it open for 2026, and then somehow use some of the money that either from a surplus at the end of the year, because quite often we do have a surplus, and divide that money up, or use money from one of the other projects that for one reason or another either got carried over or didn't go forward. It's not a practice that's responsibly done often, and I hesitate to even bring it forward, but I was just so impressed with the price from Rutherford, and I'm thinking if we wait till 2027, what kind of a price are we going to get then? But I'll first ask Ms. Goodwin if I'm wrong, if this place is overrated. Or sorry, Director Lee.
That's okay, Mayor Dolan. I think I'm going to start, I'll probably start some of the financial and then turn it over to Ms. Webb as well. So Mayor Dolan, there was definitely a lot of discussion in terms of the price and the varying options, and in the staff report, we tried to be clear about the financials on each of those options, and I think staff would agree that the price that is provided by Rutherford is reasonable, and there are potential implications the longer that project is delayed that we tried to identify. There could be increased cost, as with any other type of capital project. So I think we would agree it is a reasonable approach, and we did try to provide you varying sort of financial options, but also identify the benefits and the risks in terms of the variations between pickleball and tennis. So we tried to give you a number of options in the staff report. In terms of the financials, what I would say is the recommendation, the staff report, was trying to take on a much more structured and disciplined approach in terms of the financials. And really, we started to speak to that through the budget processes here on funds that are committed through the capital program. We spoke to the fact that we were very focused on the 2-year capital project list and what was identified in terms of really trying to focus on the projects we could to the best of our ability, try and deliver. It is not a guarantee that there won't be projects that get deferred for a variety of reasons. Could be we don't get approvals, but we tried to really be disciplined in what we provided in the 2-year budget, and we recognized that we were going to spend more time in this year, 2025, really looking at the longer-term 10-year budget. But we did really try and highlight that through the staff report that the funds are committed. So we really looked at, if we want to proceed with this sooner, we either need to take the approach of, in future years, we're not going to have funds for things that have been identified and committed to, or alternatively, we need to take a project off the list to offset this cost, because we do believe we're at the point that we are getting to overcommitting of those funds, and will be, if we proceed with all of them, there won't be sufficient funds in the reserves or the DC account to actually do all of the projects if they proceed. So we did try and give you options. If council wants to proceed and do this project now so that they are operational in 2026, we would have to look at either removing a project from 2026 and finding the funds this year, or as part of the 27-28 budget proposal, finding something else to remove if there are no surplus budget funds available. And I'll probably turn it over to Ms. Webb if there's anything else that I maybe missed through that.
Through you, Council and Mayor Dolan. Ms. Lee did speak, correctly, about, the approach that we did take in terms of, really trying to have a more disciplined approach to committing reserve funds, future reserve funds. And what we know from the budget process is that there are a lot of financial pressures on us as we move forward. So it's just being cognizant of that. And so we're really just highlighting that for council, so that we can pause and make the right decision. And, the approach or the suggestion was, yes, to wait until the 27-28 budget and evaluate that project against, a whole list of other projects. But, we are hearing that, if it is a priority for council and the community, the funds are there. The project could move forward this year, but it could impact decisions that we make in the 27-28 budget. So we just want you to be informed of the impacts that could potentially have in a future budget year.
Councillor Drodge.
Thank you, Your Worship. So I could support this, but I just want to ask one question. With the event that just happened at the IRC, if that was significant and that required hundreds of thousands of dollars, say, to repair, would that be coming out of the same pot that we would be kind of picking out of to move these pickleball courts forward in this year? Or would it be covered under insurance, or how does that all work?
Through you, Mayor Dolan, to the councillor, I'm going to defer this to Mr. Parkin. As far as I know, this will be covered by insurance. I don't know what the deductible on this looks like, so I'll ask him to answer this.
Thank you. Through you, Your Worship, we do have an insurance policy that covers property damage. There would be a deductible amount. I normally don't like to say those out loud because it could impact potential settlement depending on the claim, but it's a normal deductible amount, yes. So it shouldn't have a major impact on the operating budget.
Thank you for that. I'd have no issues then moving this project forward.
Ms. Webb? And I was just going to add that we do have budget dollars in the operating budget, like we do every year for deductibles, because we know we potentially have claims and we budget for that.
Thank you, Councillor Ices.
Thank you, Worship. And I also want to say I appreciate staff's strategic view of this issue. We have to make choices with the money that we have to work with. And I think that's what it sounds like we would have to make. So before I would support moving this project forward, I'm curious what choice we would be making by doing that. There would be funds needed to move from a project that it's already been approved. Do we have a sense of what our priorities are on another project that would move the funds from? Is that something we can discuss now or possibly at another session?
Ms. Webb, or sorry, Ms. Lee.
Thank you, Mayor Dolan. Staff didn't propose other projects at this point in time because we believe all of the other priorities that are in our current budget all align with master plan recommendations in moving those projects forward. We did identify that if it was coming forward as part of the 27-28, we would then look at what else is in the phase 2 that potentially we recommend to you gets deferred in that phase, but you may be in the same position that those are important components of phase 2 and costs could have gone up. It's a risk already with tariffs and other challenges. So that was where we had sort of identified we would come back as part of that budget process and say, if you want to fund this, here are some other options in terms of the phase 2 or other capital park projects that could be considered for delay. But really it is about pulling another project that is recommended as a priority and putting this first.
Councillor Ices?
Just to follow up, as I think through the foresight on this recommendation, bumping it to a further budget cycle, everything would have to fall into place as planned, and as we know, plans sometimes get changed. Is it possible to approve this knowing that if everything works to 100%, we have to make a decision down the road to bump a project? Or do we have enough runway to approve this with the understanding that we need to make a decision further down the road if everything lines up the way we have planned it?
Sorry, Councillor Ices, I just wanted to confirm timing, because essentially, if the direction is given tonight, the first part we have to do is the detailed design of the pickleball tennis court area, because that was not part of the phase 1 works. So there would be some time and some costs specifically on that. But by fall, at the latest, I would say we would then be into the construction phase. So we won't be at the end of the year and we won't know where we're sort of at in terms of our project costings. We would need the year end and then the recommendations as we come forward to future budget. So we could delay after the design was done, but I think there's a bit of a risk still there because we wouldn't really have all our full capital project costs yet.
Go ahead, Councillor.
So it is possible to do a design phase of this project and then have a chance to say our former priorities are still valid, we don't move forward. Does that give us a runway to possibly get this done to help the residents who want to see this done quicker, sooner rather than later?
I think the challenge, through you, Mayor Dolan, sorry to Councillor Ices, I think the challenge for staff is we have the priorities based on the budget, and we've commenced all of those capital projects for this year, some of which are projects that carry into next year because design is this year, and they're committed funds for the construction in multiple years. So we're not going to see the results of any potential surplus in those during this year, and we would need to make the decision to proceed with construction really in like 2 months at the latest on the pickleball courts. So you're kind of needing to make the decision that we're doing design and carrying right forward with construction now, and then we will have to look at where else we will have to make recommendations on projects that come out of future budgets.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful because, you know, for us as a council to be financially prudent, you're telling us we really don't have the funds to do this without opening a whole budget discussion again of what our priorities were. We've decided our priorities in our budget, and we should probably stick to them, is what I'm hearing.
Through you, Mayor Dolan. So we are saying that, yes, you've committed those funds. If you're choosing that you want to commit them to this project, then we will need to come forward at the next budget to say one of the projects that has been identified can no longer proceed unless we found other surplus funds.
If I can follow up, then, so the fact that we do a 2-year budget cycle, there is an opportunity at the end of this year to renew the next budget, and that would be when that decision would be made, if council wanted to move forward with this. So it wouldn't necessarily be a 27, 28 discussion. It would be a 26 discussion, because we have that window to change the budget at the end of this year.
That's not what the recommendation is saying, Councillor Ices. It's saying that be considered in the part of the 27-28 capital budget. I also believe in being financially prudent, and I don't like to commit future councils that, I've spent money before they even get a chance to vote. But I did have a question, and I'm not sure, there was a Parks and Recreation fund through the provincial government that we could apply for. I'm not sure if we applied for that, and was it only arenas, or would something like this qualify? I'm not sure if anybody can answer that question. Director Lee?
Thanks, Mayor Dolan. I'm trying to find, because we mentioned it somewhere in the report. So there is, it's not in the pickleball report, it's in the Innisfil Beach Park report. So it is it is a fund specifically for reconstruction, expansion of park facilities that broaden the usage of it. And so we are submitting funding through that application. So the Community Sports and Recreation Infrastructure Fund, Stream 2. If we get, and we did speak to that either could go towards the unawarded items that were in the last report you just spoke to. We don't know that we'll get the funding. Obviously, that's something that many municipalities will be looking for, but it could potentially be used to offset this as well if we receive those funds.
Thank you. I'll go to Councillor Richardson and then Deputy Fowler.
Just a quick question. So I thought that we had discussed revamping the Crossroads Park with the tennis courts to the pickleball, and I'm reading this and you're saying that you don't advise it because of the noise. Well, if it's already is pickleball that much more noisier than tennis? Yes. Oh, okay. All right, never mind. I apologize then. Sorry.
So just so it's actually, Doc, through you to Councillor Richardson, yes, essentially we have started to see noise reports in other municipalities, and that's why we spoke to it in this, that there is a very distinct noise in pickleball, different than tennis. And so that's where you do see in the recommendations that we're looking at those larger distances now as we continue to plan for courts.
Fair enough. Thank you. I apologize.
Never apologize for asking a question, Councillor. Deputy Mayor Fowler.
Thank you, Your Worship. What I'm getting here is two extremes on the scale here. If we don't put in the courts, we're upsetting a large portion who play pickleball, but if we do put them in, we're risking upsetting the other residents who don't play pickleball by spending funds that we may not have. A proper negotiation, usually, my understanding of a proper negotiation is when both parties are not satisfied. When you get a little bit of what you want, but not enough to make you completely happy. I'm asking council now if they would have the appetite for option one, because it drops the cost from $414,055 to $255,594, saving $158,461. We're looking at the cost here, and I'm thinking if we reduce a little bit, it puts less pressure on the future budget while trying to validate the needs of our senior community and the pickleball players. I'm throwing it out there to see if anybody is comfortable with that.
I'm not seeing any hands, Deputy Mayor, so I, oh, Councillor Drodge.
No, I appreciate option one, but no, I'm not interested. I just want to clarify, though, that the original intention, Your Worship, was that historically our capital budgets, we don't utilize all of it, and your original intention to move this forward was on that premise that historically we don't use all our money. So it's not so much that your intention is we're going to cut something short. You're hoping or banking on historically we have some monies usually left over on our 2-year budgets, and that was your original intention. Am I correct?
Yes and no. So the surplus is typically in the operating budget, but the capital budget for stuff that gets carried over or projects that we decide we're no longer going to do anymore, you'll have seen the reports that come forward and it says, okay, this item we decided we're going to meld it with this item and put two together. But the carried over projects eventually do get done and get spent. So I totally can respect the whole it's committed piece. I guess part of my problem is that I remember doing our very first Parks and Recreation Master Plan, and, you know, tennis, nobody knew what pickleball was then, and tennis was a dying sport, and we were getting rid of all of our tennis courts. Passive recreation was big then. Soccer wasn't big then. These things change so quickly. Sports and recreation is so dynamic and so cyclical or trendy, I guess they want to say, that it changes quickly. And I really do feel that we are behind when it comes to this sport. People are passionate about it. It is, and we don't have the facilities. Bradford is above us in facilities. Well, I'm not going to compare us with Barrie because they're 3 times the population, but Bradford's about the same size, and they've opened a big outdoor court this year. So, you know, but the real thing is I would never sit here and say, let's, you know, go out and single source or let's go out and build a pickleball court. It's because we've got contractors mobilized on the ground, because they've given us a price that I think is decent, but what do I know? That's why, because the opportunity is there, the contractors are on site, as opposed to making a motion that we all of a sudden design, build, and construct something and go out to tender. So that was my thought. It just felt like such an opportunity, but knowing where the money comes from is imperative. Councillor Waters.
Thank you, Worship. I agree with you. I think pickleball has been on our radar for the past 4 years, and it's growing. First, it was at the Y, and we had conflicting times and everything else, and we haven't really, you know, put anything out in the field. So I think it's an increasing demand. It's a sport that seniors enjoy, which we have a good population in our town. So I think we would be doing our residents a favor in terms of their health and wellness, and you know, and just opportunity to do something other than watch TV. So I think I agree. It's something I think we should try to move up, and I agree that it's. The contractor says he can do it. They're there. They've given, I agree with you. I think it's a reasonable price for what we're asking for. The only question I ask is that this doesn't include the dome. This is just the new pickleball carts. Okay, good. So I would agree with what you're trying to do here. Thank you.
So I wondered if there'd be the opportunity to have this come back to the next meeting with an item that we could defer in order to include this in the 2025-26 budget. I'm looking at staff. Okay, sorry. CAO Jershow.
Thank you, Mayor Dolan. You know, I appreciate the sentiment in that comment. To be pragmatic, I'm not sure it's necessary, because I think what we're trying to say is that notionally, you can't have everything on your wish list plus, 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 and that at some point trade-offs will have to be made. I mean, I think there are, maybe let me take a step back. A couple of times we've used the word discipline here tonight. So in my mind, what that means is working towards a situation where we can be quite confident we spend a high proportion of our capital budget every year delivering the projects we planned. And, obviously in any of these situations for any municipality, for anybody doing capital projects, there's a lot of uncertainty. You're never going to hit 100% every year. Your project costs are never going to exactly match your budget for a whole variety of good reasons. However, I do think, fiscal discipline and good capital planning takes you towards that goal where the numbers come closer together, right? What you plan for is closer to what you actually deliver, and that means you're going to the taxpayer for the money you actually need in any given year because you're going to spend it. And I think it's very important, as Ms. Lee pointed out, the capital budget derives from plans and decisions that council itself has made. So when you talked about the Land and Lake Plan, or when you talked about the Innisfil Beach Park Master Plan, you agreed on a sequence of projects and expenditures, and then we go ahead and try and implement those. So in the short term, I think there are implications around, well, now we're going to be doing design for something we weren't planning on doing design for. So we'll have to adjust workload within staff. We'll have to adjust where expenditure is happening. So I think the real point is here, there will be consequences in switching the order in which you want to do different projects. Can we figure it out for a project of this scale, with the timeline we're looking at? Probably. And I think, part of the reason for the second recommendation on the screen and saying, looking at the 27-28 capital budget is that's a time when we take a look at the whole capital plan and see, what's been on track, what needs adjusting, to do it in the most holistic way so you can really have that trade-off conversation. It is absolutely the case, I'm already convinced that we'll need to do some degree of budget refresh heading into 2026. So that will probably be towards the end of 2025, and that would create an opportunity to get a bit more precise around, okay, in light of the decisions we've made in 2025, what does that mean for 2026 and beyond? So I think in that sense, we could be a bit more precise around trade-offs, and I think it would be at some level a little arbitrary to come back in 2 weeks and say, this is what's coming off the list so you can do pickleball courts. So I think, if council wants to accelerate this work, that's your choice to make. I think we can figure it out, but I do think there will be consequences, and the more times you change your mind about your priorities, the greater those consequences will be.
Thank you, Sarah Jerschel. I really appreciate those comments. I'm just going to go back to the Innisfil Beach Park update, the last report that we looked at. And the items that we pulled out of that project, nearly $1 million worth, were our priorities when we passed that Innisfil Beach Park Master Plan. We wanted the concrete, we wanted the benches, we wanted the planters, we wanted the trees. We pulled those out. And I didn't hear any one member of council complain about, no, we needed to find another $1 million to add all those things in. So we did make that we did have that opportunity. Like if we would have, if in that staff report, if we would have said absolutely not, throw another $1 million into that project, build it exactly the way we said we're going to build it, then I don't think I could have brought this forward. But I'd be looking for a mover and a seconder to amend the recommendation to 20 as part of the 25-26 capital budget. But Councillor Drodge?
Thank you, Worship. Just one more comment before that. I think when we went through our budget cycle, I think staff and council were really disciplined and made the right decisions when we approved that budget. I do agree with you, Your Worship, that we did have no issues with pulling out $1 million worth of infrastructure that was supposed to go into that park. when we see something that's a necessity for the residents and we see that it is trendy, so we would like to have those in place while people still would like to use them and hopefully continue to use it. I think this is an example where we should kind of step out of our safe space, our disciplined space, because we live in that world all the time. This is one time where I think we need to make a decision for the people. Maybe not the best decision for our budget, but I do believe staff will figure it out. I would totally move this if you would like, Your Worship.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for this? Councillor Zanella? Any questions or comments on this? Councillor Ices.
Thank you, Worship. I'm having a hard time moving it just that flippantly when staff has just kind of said, you know, we've done all this work on our priorities and so now we have to make a choice. And you guys just figure it out, and because we chose this over something else and we don't know what that is. Is this quote for the work, if council decided that we address this when we have our budget refresh at the end of 2025 for 26. So in effect, we would be accelerating the project, but not quite as quick as the motion seems to suggest. And then we would have a better idea of what we're actually choosing by doing this now, and we'd have more information. So would that quote still be effective if we made this discussion when we did our budget refresh at the end of 2025 for 2026?
Director Lee?
Thank you, Mayor Dolan. I think we would have to get Rutherford to give us an updated quote at the end of the year, because they've quoted it based on starting the work, the design now, and starting construction. With any quote, it's not good for that length of time. I mean, we can certainly ask them, but there will be differences in materials and cost. So we would need an updated quote at the end of the year that we could then present as part of the 2026 reconsideration.
Councillor Jershaw. CAO Jershaw.
Thank you, Mayor Dolan. Just to build on that comment, I think it would be helpful looking at what's on the screen in terms of a potential amendment for council to be precise around what you're proposing, because what I think I had understood from Mayor Dolan's initial comment was the notion that like consideration wasn't what we were talking about. It was added to the budget, like do the project. Whereas what I think Councillor Ices was saying was defer that decision till the budget refresh process for 2026. So I think some precision on, like, if the request is we want to move this forward, go and spend the money, then I would suggest we not use a word like consideration. We say, you know, that the project be added to the 25-26 capital budget. Or if it's let's decide later, then I think consideration would be appropriate.
Okay, and just to point, it was Councillor Drodge that moved it as opposed to me. Thank you. Councillor Drodge.
Thank you, Worship. I would totally agree, COO Jershaw. I would like to be added to the 2025-2026 capital budget. That's what I'm proposing.
Thanks, Director Lee.
Thank you, Mayor Dolan. If we can be a little bit more precise, as we've done in the staff report, I think we also need to be clear that that would be funded 50% from ARS and 50% from the Parks DC.
Yes, absolutely. We'll just let clerks work on that for a minute. Is there anybody who wants to speak to this? Councillor Ices.
So, thank you, Worship. Just for clarification, and if this motion is passed, it's what CAO Jershaw has suggested. The money is going to be spent, and we're going to do the project immediately.
Director Lee?
Sorry, Your Worship, I was also looking at the screen. I think that's the wording we were, as staff, looking for, if that works for council, and that's correct. We would, based on the motion, the capital team would correspond with Rutherford, add the project to the Phase 1 budget, and they would start the design immediately.
Councillor Ices?
Thank you for that clarification. Based on that, I cannot support this motion. I do not believe this is financially being a good steward of the whole budget process that we've gone through and the funds that we are going to spend. So I would prefer to present a different motion that would speed up the creation of the pickleball courts and not have it go to 27, 28, but I'll wait for the vote on this.
Thank you, Councillor Ices. Questions or comments on the amendment? CAO Jersha.
Thank you, Mayor Dolan. Apologies for the interjections here. Again, just for precision, because several options were indicated in the staff report, also a suggestion to maybe be precise that we're talking about option 4 is what we mean by the project. So
I thought that maybe it was in clause 1. Option 4 was in clause 1, but I could be wrong.
I think that was receiving the report.
Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. So we need to make a decision. So we have a amendment, a motion to amend by Councillor Drodge and Councillor Zanella. So questions or comments on the amendment only? All those in favor of the amendment? All those opposed to the amendment? That's carried. And then the motion as amended? All those in favor? Those opposed?
Excuse me. Sorry, Mayor Dolan. Can we just get the wording up on the screen with the motion as amended?
Okay, is everybody clear now on the motion? Okay. All those in favor of the motion as amended? That's carried. Next is item F1.
Councillor Drodge will be my seconder. I just really had a question. So I agree with it being down to just one member of council. My question, though, is regarding the bylaw as to who is the member of council that sits on county council. And the only reason I ask is because with this situation, with both the mayor and deputy mayor sitting on that county council, the two decisions were very different. One was for, one was against. So just curiosity as to why, or if it could be like the council decides who sits on county council, because the person who's sitting on county council is representing us as council, and clearly in this situation, there was two very distinct different opinions and votes by the two members that were sitting on county council representing us. So that was my question, I guess.
Ms. Toma?
Thank you, Mayor Dolan. Through you to Councillor Richardson. Is the bylaw, council is voting on the bylaw as it is presented, and no changes are being considered at this time?
So there is still, so it would be one member. That member would be the mayor, and there would be an alternate as per the Municipal Act. But the alternate would only be there, like, typically, if the mayor felt that they wanted to delegate that position, they they couldn't, but they could just always send the alternate, is my understanding. But it would be the mayor's decision. Go ahead, Councillor.
So is it an option to change the bylaw that it has to be the mayor? Like, who makes that decision that the bylaw states it has to be the mayor as opposed to somebody that is voted upon by council or even by the residents to pick who sits as a representative on county council? I guess that's my question.
So county council passed the bylaw the way it is. So the option, if you don't like the bylaw the way it is to vote against it. Deputy Mayor?
Just a point of clarification for Councillor Richardson. When the vote passed recently in county in a weighted vote and recorded vote, both Mayor Dolan and I voted in favor of reducing it down to one member of council.
Fair enough, but originally you didn't, so that's why I'm curious, right?
Fair enough, but as we had discussions, opinions can change over time, and when the vote was brought back, it was presented that way and voted upon that way.
Councillor Richardson?
Again, fair enough, but if it had been the situation where you were the mayor at that point and you were the only one sitting on there, and you made the decision that you wanted to go against that, then there wouldn't have necessarily been a conversation asking the rest of your council how they felt. That's what I'm trying to get at, is that how do we ensure that whoever is representing us on county council is actually listening and hearing what the rest of the council members might be saying. That's all.
Thank you. Other questions or comments on this item? So just a couple of thoughts from me. I did support the reduction at the county. I did in governance talk about the mayor or alternate for other reasons, actually, just because sometimes if you were a mayor and you had a full-time job, perhaps maybe you wouldn't want the extra responsibility and I liked the idea of being able to defer to a regional councillor or a county councillor, but that didn't pass. My sense is that county council is the one of two that are the largest councils in Ontario. I think there's one other council the same size as county council, but 32 members. And I honestly believe that if this doesn't pass and we go to the province and say, now we want a full-time warden, so instead of 32, we're going to be 33 members, I think it'll be done to us as opposed to us making the decision. So that's why I support it. Councillor Richardson.
Sorry, I do support it. I was just curious as to how the role is put into the person, that's all. Sorry.
Thank you. Councillor Ices.
Thank you, Worship. One of the concerns of going from the 2-member per municipality to the one was the loss of the rural voice, the smaller municipalities. By reducing it, they have less of a say percentage-wise. So the report talks about the weighted vote. Can you explain to me when the weighted vote kicks in to assist with the differences in population in the different municipalities?
Absolutely. So the weighted vote is used when someone asks for a recorded vote at county council. So just as we do here, and probably about the same amount of times here. So we might have a recorded vote, once every 10 meetings. It's similar at county council. But when it is a weighted vote, then it's based on electors. not population, but the number of electors in your municipality. So we have one of the largest weighted votes, and other municipalities have smaller ones, but this doesn't change the weighted vote. So the difference is, right now, I think we have 16 votes, if I'm not mistaken. So they're divided into two, 8 and 8, but the weighted vote then all the weighted vote would go to one person instead of being divided into 2 people. There is some consternation about this, whether or not it will pass, because of there's smaller municipalities, and not necessarily all smaller municipalities, but some smaller municipalities want to do away with the weighted vote. That is a discussion for another day. In my mind, they aren't connected because the vote doesn't change. But that is when and how it's used at the county currently. Other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? That's carried unanimously. And we'll move to the rise recommendation, please. Mover and a seconder. Councillor Drodge, Councillor Zanella, all those in favor? That is carried. And adoption of the recommendations from the Committee of the Whole for May the 14th, please. Councillor Waters and Councillor Richardson, all those in favor? That's carried. And we have no notices of motion and announcements. Councillor Ices.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a few quick announcements from Ward 1. May the 16th, which is this Friday, there's the Shabbat Innisfil Leg Baomer Family Festival at Centennial Park from 4:30 to 7 p.m. And then on May 31st, there's a Holly event at the Stroud Arena at 3 p.m. Festival of Colors, another great family event that you can check out. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councillor Constantine.
So the Innisfil Tamil Association, they would like the public to join them on May 17 from 5 to 8 at the at 931 Church Drive. That's it. That's at the church, and they're requesting that the public come and enjoy their youth program.
Thank you so much. Councillor Richardson.
I just wanted to start saying thank you to the Electoral Engagement Committee for organizing the Coffee with Council that happened on Saturday, May the 3rd. It was great to chat with residents and meet new people. And just a reminder that Tea with the Trustee is happening May 27th from 5 till 7 with Donna Armstrong from the Public Board and Tanya De Silva from the Catholic Board. On May 8th, I also got to attend the Get to Know Your Local Government session, which was great. I loved seeing that there was way more youth there than there was the last time that we went, so I thought that was really great. There's always lots of stuff going on at the library, but I just wanted to share that. So every Tuesday and Friday at Lakeshore, Ontario Works is there, and they help with financial assistance, vision and dental benefits, housing, emergency shelters and stuff. So they're Tuesdays and Fridays from 9 to 4:30, as well as the third Thursday of every month, there is a Care Partner Support Group. So that's looking to connect people who are supporting people living with dementia. So that's the third Thursday of the month from 1:30 to 3 p.m. And then a little in the future is starting July 8th is our weekly Music in the Park. That's starting on July 8th at Town Square, and it'll be rotating between the beach and Cookstown Community Park as well.
Thank you. Councillor Waters.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a couple of items. May 15th, weather permitting, the Innisfil Beach Cruisers event at the park at 5 p.m. to dusk every Thursday. That's going to be beginning. So if you have a nice classic that you want to show off, that's the place to do it. And then on May 22nd is Neighborhood Nights for Ward 4. That's my ward. So I'll look forward to seeing all residents there. That's May 22nd, Neighborhood Nights at Innisfil Beach Park. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Zanella.
I have nothing.
Thank you. Councillor Saunders.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On May 17th, fireworks at Friday Harbor will be at 10 p.m. The Legion's Uber hub is up and running. Again, at the Legion for the next three things. May 15th is the Cornhole League. May 25th is their annual general meeting. And May 26th is their youth dinner and darts. And I get to beat you on the neighborhood nights because mine's tomorrow night. So I hope to see you all there.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Drudge.
Thanks, Your Worship. Last week, there was two grand openings. McDonald's in Cookstown had their grand opening, and Dilly Chat at the 20th and 89 also had a grand opening. So you should check both those places out. On May 19th, the Tanger Mall will be open from 11 to 7, so that's the holiday Monday. Every Tuesday at the Cookstown Library, the Mobile Seniors and Living Center will be meeting there from 9:30 to 11:30. And on May 31st, the Innisfil annual Bake and Garden Sale at the Arboretum in Guildford will be doing their event from 8 to 12 p.m.
Thank you, Worship. It's been a busy couple of weeks for our council. We've attended the Blooming Spring Market that was up in Stroud. We had Comic Fest, which was at Lakeshore, its second year. Councillor Constantine and I attended Simcoe Caribbean Association, their initial launch dinner, which was really incredible. The Lions Hall held an RVH car wash fundraiser, which was well attended. We went down to Farmer Save. Councillor Drudge, the mayor, and I were at Farmer Save for their reopening after the fire down that way. We had coffee with council down at the library, which is a big success, only dwarfed by Pitchin' Day with the amount of bags we saw on the side of the road. On the same day was the South Simcoe Police Open House, which was really good down in Bradford as well as Innisfil. I got to attend the color-inspired student art contest down at the Lakeshore Library, which is incredible. We have so many talented kids in this town. It's phenomenal. And last night was the community planning permit system at Town Hall. So moving forward now, we may actually slow down just a little bit to enjoy the spring and summer.
If only that were true, Deputy Mayor, but no slowing down yet. I just wanted to say that we had a really good turnout at all of our Tim Hortons for the Smile Cookie campaign. So big thanks to everybody who helped support that. It went to Stroud Sunnybury School, some of it went to the Innisfil Library, and a lot of it went to the food bank. I also attended on May the 4th, the 80th anniversary of the Battle of the Atlantic, and laid a wreath on behalf of Innisfil veterans at the Cenotaph in Barrie. I want to give a big thank you to staff for the recent one-year anniversary of Teen Nights, the opportunity for adults to go and check out what they were like. The energy in that room, I'll tell you, it was something else. But a big thank you to staff Sandy Foster, Jen Lloyd, and Shelley Brook for working on that. It's making a big difference in our community, and we've seen less vandalism in parts of our community due to the fact that these teens have some place to go. I know Councillor Richardson and I both got the chance at different times to go to St. Francis of Assisi and see the student play there, Frozen Junior. I just can't tell you the caliber that these kids do. It's like you're going to a professional theater, and it's fabulous work from them. I also had the opportunity to host the grade 1 students from Kempenfelt Bay School here, and they had such great questions and really thoughtful questions, and enjoyed their time. They've always kind of wondered what happens in that building next to where they go to school, so it was nice for them to come in and see what we do here and understand it a little bit more. I volunteered at McHappy Day, on McHappy Day at our new McDonald's, which was wonderful. And the Deputy Mayor spoke about Color Inspired. It was really incredible, and it was even harder to judge. So trying to judge that artwork and pick a winner was really difficult. The Nottawasaga AGM was on last night, and Councillor Zanella and Councillor Constantine and I attended that event, and there's a lot of Innisfil residents on that board, so it was nice to see. The event, the Shabbat event, if you're going, you should register online. There's a $16 fee for a ticket, but I encourage everybody to go out. It's a wonderful event. And I just wanted to congratulate Kim Creamer. She did a great job as usual on her pitch-in day. And also invite everybody who is interested in attending on Saturday, the 17th, to the Innisfil Historical Society. There's going to be a talk on the history of Bellure, if you want to know about that. And finally, I just want to say to everyone, have a very safe and wonderful Victoria Day long weekend. In regards to the vote we just took for the county, next steps is it will have to be, you read in the report about the triple majority, so there's still a long way to go. It still may not pass, but we'll see what the other councils decide to do. And does anybody know the score?
4-0 Panthers. End of the second.
4-0 Panthers?
At the end of the second, yeah.
Okay, all right. With that, then, I think we'll call adjournment. So confirming bylaw and adjournment. Councillor Drodgen, Councillor Richardson, all those in favor? That is carried. Thank you, everyone, and sorry to spoil your night if you just